All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Nonprofit Enthusiasts Live. I am so excited to be here and kick off this month's topic of year-end planning. We have a lot that we're going to be sharing this month. At the end of the month, we're going to have Robert Jones come back on and join us and talk about year-end planning. So you definitely want to make sure you do not miss these sessions throughout the month. Before we get started, go ahead and invite your friends to the Facebook group and tag them into this chat if you know they need to be listening in and learning about some tips and tools when it comes to year-end planning for your nonprofit organization. And if you're catching this on replay, go ahead and give us a hashtag replay so that we know that you are here. I'm so excited to talk to you all today about year-end planning. So once again, invite your friends to the group. You're catching us on replay. Give us a hashtag replay, everyone. All right, so I'm gonna jump right into this topic. I'm excited about this topic. It's going to be geared towards year-end planning, but many nonprofit organizations are preparing to conclude their fiscal year on June 30th. And that's one of the reasons we chose this topic for this month. So that way we can kind of talk about some tips as they think about what the next fiscal year will look like. And for those of you that your fiscal year closed later, this topic is still helpful because you're able to use this information and prepare ahead. If it's later on in the year, you might have a September 30th fiscal year end or December 31st one. Whatever it is, you're able to look ahead. And some of these tools, I believe, you can actually use now. You don't have to wait until your year end to be able to do so. So with that, I'm going to dive right into it. So, you all often hear me talk about people, processes, and systems. And this framework can help your nonprofit grow better, faster, and more efficient. The people is who are the people doing the work? Process, how is it getting done? And what are the people doing? So it helps the people know what exactly to do. And then the technologies are what are we doing with the work and what tools are the people doing the work with. And you've probably heard me share this already. So when you have people and processes that's running smooth, you're able to scale your nonprofit. When you have people in technology, you're able to innovate solutions for your nonprofit. And when you have process and technology, you're able to automate your things within your organization. But when you have all three, you're able to quickly and efficiently take your organization to the next level. And the reason that I bring this up is because I really wanted to talk about when it comes to year-end planning, for some organizations, they're looking at staff development and management. So this is an excellent time to review your nonprofit staffing needs and strategies for improving your staff performance. So I'm in particularly going to talk about the area of looking at technology to build efficiency in your organization. And you all may have noticed, so we're using speaking of technology, I'm testing out a new system that we've set up today for our lives to see how it works out. So you're part of this process, and these tips that I'm going to give today, you're seeing it in action right now as we use this new system and try to test it out and see if this is where the direction we want to go in for future nonprofit enthusiast lives. So you're seeing the tips that I'm gonna share in action right now. So you all, and also you get to be the tester group. So if you see me fumbling and doing certain things different, that's why, because this is my first time ever using this system. But this also is showing you this technology piece that I'm gonna talk about in action. So over the last few weeks, I've been asked to talk to leaders about using technology and different productivity hacks. And I was like, why not share that in a nonprofit enthusiast group? So you all know we have a blog that we'll go ahead and drop into the chat box. This blog is one of our higher viewed blogs. Because of the free and low cost resources that's shared on there. So I definitely want to make sure, especially if you're new to the group and have not seen this blog, definitely check it out. And if you have questions, you're like, man, I'm stuck. And there's certain areas of my nonprofit I know technology can help. Feel free to drop that in the chat. Or if you have a tool that you feel you just want to shout it from the rooftop, because I'm that person. Once I know something works, I'm telling everybody. Go ahead and drop that in the chat as well and let people know what tools you're using and how it's working. One thing I want to caution you on, if you are looking for new tools to use, is really strategize, what you need each tool to do, because you can really get caught into purchasing a lot of software that does a lot of the same things or similar things, but of course one might do it better in this area. So definitely I don't want you going out, buying all or getting all these softwares and finding that it's just, creating chaos within your organization. So some tips I have for when you're choosing technology for your nonprofit. It can be a complex process, especially when there's multiple people using it, multiple teams using it. You definitely want to take a look at your organization needs, your budget, what resources you have available. And of course, once again, check out that blog, because there are a lot of low cost and no cost resources available to nonprofit organizations that I found sometimes we're not tapping into. Like, for instance, Canva Pro. We know Canva Pro is free for nonprofit organizations, but I do run across organizations that pay for the license, and have to kind of let them know, this is available. Here you go. Here's the link. And that link is also in that blog. So Canva Pro is some, and I could talk about tools all day, but I'll just name a few. Google Suite. We've been using that since the beginning of our organization. Absolutely love it. We know the Microsoft Suite is also available. So there's so much different tools available that no cost to low cost to nonprofits, that you'll have a lot of wonderful options out there. So I'm going to go through some quick tips. One is to identify your needs. So define the problem. What are you trying to resolve with this new technology tool that you're bringing into your organization? I'll share something really simple with you. I recently, well, actually, it's probably been a few months now since we got a new tool that helps us schedule or keep our schedule kind of in line and in order. It's almost similar to like a virtual assistant, you'll say, except it's literally an AI that does it for you. And that was when we got to a place where it was one of those things where it was a little bit harder for people to understand the patterns, like, because there's all these different rules. If you have a meeting here, then you got to make sure that you build in travel time and all these different things where you can easily triple book your team or whichever. But using this system, it helped us manage our schedule much, much better. So at that time, when we identified our needs, we knew that people running this and trying to work our schedules was not working. But maybe if we can just tell this, because you tell the AI your habits, like let's say our team meeting, making sure that it's only held on a Tuesday and Thursday between this time and this time. It's certain rules like that you give it, and it'll add it to everyone's calendar and so forth. So that was that's an example of how we kind of identify our need. I know I went straight into finding the solution, but I definitely identify your need, conduct research, and that's a phase that we went through with that same tool, along with plenty other tools. We typically conduct research, see who the competitors are, what are the costs, is there nonprofit discounts available, or do they have general discounts if they don't, especially if we really like the tool. So we're looking at those type of things. What features do they have? Will it be able to grow with us long term, or is this just a short term patch? Generally, we like tools that will be able to grow with us as we continue to grow. Consider your budget. Oftentimes, we know there may not be a large budget for technology within your organization, and that's okay, because good thing there's these low and no cost tools. But you definitely want to look at what your budget is, and especially if it's something like, let's say it's a tool that will help build efficiency within your programs. Maybe it's something that you just have to build into your program budgets and so forth. So there's different ways to do it, but just consider your budgets when doing so. Look for user-friendly technology. So I will tell you all a story. For our nonprofit, we've been using the Google Suite since we started. So we're like, okay, let's switch over to Microsoft, because that's frequently used. So we were getting ready to do the whole, and on top of it, it had a lot of things built into the suite, which Google has as well now, as that we felt would have been helpful, for us to be able to use. But then when we were doing these steps that I'm sharing, we realized that it was not user friendly for those who, especially because we have a lot of volunteers that may be college or high school students, and they're learning through the Google platform. So then translating into Microsoft was just hard for them, or challenging. And a lot of times at that point, they'll be like, ah, forget it. I'm not going to do whichever it is. Or they'll go into their own system is typically what they'll do as well. It's kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to put it in Google and then I could just download it back. So that we did not make that transition. So making sure it's user friendly, because that one thing can turn, like, let's say a volunteer or someone off. That learning curve can make an impact on the team. So don't think about what works just for you, but also think about what works for the organization and those that will be using the tool. The next thing I want to share is evaluate the compatibility of your systems, because like, certain browsers may not allow you to use that system. Let's say you have certain computers, you want to make sure that it's compatible. And then also if they have integration opportunities for you to integrate, so your different tools can talk to each other. An example of that I have is, like, for instance, I love using Spark for my email system. And it speaks to Asana that we use for project management, and then it also speaks to Evernote that I like to use for my notes. So with that, whenever I have, let's say, an email come in and I need to put it on our project timeline, I could just easily just convert that email in Spark, and they'll go into my to-do list on Asana. So it's things like that. That's very helpful when your systems talk to each other. Prioritize security. You definitely want to make sure that the technology that you get is secure, will hold personal information securely. So definitely putting that on your checklist when looking into the different systems. Again, involve your stakeholders. So you want to involve your staff, your volunteer, stakeholder, the end user, especially like if it's something where it's for others will be interacting with the system, not just your internal team. You want them to kind of give you feedback. So for instance, me using this new system today, I would love to hear what you all think. I'm going to do a few. So my goal is we're going to test this out like for a couple more weeks throughout the month of May, and then make a decision if we're going to continue for June. So that's kind of like the timeline that we're working with. But I would love to hear your feedback. And hey, it might be a matter of we don't even notice the difference, which is completely fine. And I haven't used all the gadgets in the system yet today. I kind of kept it simple, but you'll see some of that as we go throughout. So involve your stakeholders, get their feedback, see how they like it. And then another thing is test before you buy. A lot of systems do allow you to have a free trial period, or at least go on a month to month where you can just pay for 1 month to test it out and see if it's something that you want to keep with before going into an annual plan. There is nothing like paying for a whole annual plan because that amazing discount, but then coming to find out that this is not the system for us. So definitely test it before. I love doing that. And when I test before, I generally, there's a few team members that I would call on and say, hey, can you be like the person that tests this with me? Because I know some team members, I love them dearly, but if they test it with me, they're just going to get so frustrated with the system and tell me, so the cool thing is when testing it out with these few team members who are willing to try a new system, they'll give me feedback, say this didn't work. That, we could kind of flush out the kinks before unrolling it to everyone. And then, of course, we come up with the whole plan for unrolling it and everything. So you definitely, I just wanted to share these tips as you think about the new year. What are some things that, as far when it comes to technology, what are some areas that you all can use support within your organization? And technology can probably do it better than, let's say, I know for me, some things I'm like, technology just knocks this out, especially with that scheduling thing. So, are there areas within your organization that you feel that technology can do and do well, and then free your team to do other things that they love to do and do it well? So take a look at that. So that's homework, y'all. I just skip straight to homework. So taking a look at, as you're planning the year end for your organization, take a look at what are some areas within your organization that you can improve. Is your organization, and this happens, like for me, I'm trying to do some things with the bank and they still require me to do paper applications. And that really bothers me as the end user. Is your organization doing that? Let's say in order to apply for a position, they have to, maybe complete a pay, unless there's some rules and different things around organization where they have to, and that's the only way it can get done. But if there's a way that you can automate and make some of these systems a little bit easier, especially reporting is another one. Is there, do you have to get reports from different sites and then you're still having them email it to you individually instead of just having them send it in a form and you can see all the results in one? So thinking about that. So definitely, if you have any system that you love using, drop them in the chat. If you're like, I've been trying to figure this out, put that in the chat as well. I would love to hear what those are. And, we're here to support one another and learn more. So, all right. So here are the tips that I share. Identify your needs, conduct research, consider your budget, look for user-friendly technology, evaluate compatibility, prioritize security, and involve your stakeholders and test it before you buy it. All right, everyone. So it was wonderful hanging with you all today. I hope you like our new system that we're trying to test out and use. We're going to be doing some extra things with it. I'm going to be playing with it a little bit more throughout the month to see what else we can do in here. I'm just excited about the abilities that it has. So other than that, I will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.